Every place carries a spirit. Some empower, others imprison. Today, we unveil territories that appear harmless on the surface, yet are steeped in deep, dark manipulations. Wisdom demands not just knowledge of what to embrace, but also what to avoid. Every environment is speaking whether you realize it or not. Some speak life, growth, and vision. Others whisper confusion, heaviness, and cycles of stagnation. The question is, what is your environment saying to you? Many people walk into places without understanding that atmospheres are not empty, atmospheres are charged. They're either cultivating your clarity or clouding your purpose. You see, influence doesn't always come through people, it often comes through places. A city, a village, a building, even a room can hold a spirit that begins to shape the thoughts, emotions, and actions of those who dwell in it. And the most dangerous environments are the ones that look harmless, but are spiritually contaminated. You enter a place, and suddenly your mind feels foggy. You become irritable. Your dreams fade. Your goals seem distant. Why? Because environments carry influence. And if you're not discerning, you become what the atmosphere allows. Have you ever asked yourself, why do certain locations always seem to attract the same kind of pain, failure, or confusion? That's not coincidence. That's conditioning. The atmosphere has been programmed by history, by rituals, by decisions to echo a certain pattern. You can't build vision in a place that's designed to kill it. You can't find peace in a space that has been dedicated to chaos. You can't expect prosperity in a land that has been drenched in fear, control, or hidden manipulation. Every location has a voice, and every voice has an agenda. So many people are fighting internal battles that are actually being amplified by external environments. They're not broken, they're in the wrong place. The environment is molding their mindset. The influence is silent, but deadly. Until you learn to discern the atmosphere, you'll keep mistaking spiritual tension for personal weakness. And that mistake, it's costly. It delays purpose. It breeds frustration. It opens the door for things you never meant to invite. The key is this: never ignore the feeling of a place. Pay attention, because while you may walk into a space casually, something in that space might be planning to stay with you permanently. But what happens when a place doesn't just influence you? It begins to possess you. What if you're standing on ground that has already been claimed by something invisible? Let's talk about it next. Some places don't just carry influence, they function as gateways, portals, entry points where unseen forces pass through, operate, and dominate. And the frightening part, most people walk right in without knowing they just crossed a threshold. Not every open door is an invitation. Some doors are traps. Some gates have been opened through generations of rituals, bloodlines, agreements, and practices that left a spiritual residue. And once that gate is open, it doesn't care if you believe it or not. It doesn't ask for permission. It just begins to operate. You think you're just visiting, but that place has been prepared. It has been activated by something beyond the physical. It begins to read you, track you, speak to you, subtly, quietly, but consistently. You start feeling heavy. You start second-guessing everything. You leave drained, but you don't know why. Some people stay in relationships, stay in business partnerships, stay in communities that were built on land already spoken for. They wonder why nothing flows, why everything collapses just before the breakthrough. It's because the foundation is cracked, but not just physically. Spiritually, it was laid with compromise. When you enter a gateway, you step into a system, and systems are designed to produce results. But when the system is corrupted, so are the results. You begin repeating behaviors you thought you left behind. Old addictions rise again. Anxiety creeps in. Depression settles. Dreams die. Not because you changed, but because the gate you walked through changed what had access to you. This is why some territories are marked, not by signs or fences, but by cycles, places where nothing grows, where families fall apart, where confusion is common and peace is rare, where violence is normal, where hope is mocked. These aren't just bad neighborhoods, they're strongholds. So what do? You become aware. You don't casually step through every open space. You ask the right questions. You sense, you discern, you observe, because if you're not careful, you may be entering a place that's been assigned to dismantle your destiny. But here's the real danger. What happens when the influence of a place no longer surrounds you, but starts living inside you? What if the ground begins to grow something in your soul? Let's go deeper. Every place carries a spirit, not just the people, the place itself. And that spirit either aligns with your assignment or it warps it, because where you dwell determines what you develop, and what surrounds you starts to grow inside you. You ever notice how certain environments produce specific kinds of people? In one city, creativity thrives. In another, fear dominates. In one region, progress is natural. In another, it feels like time stands still. That's not just economy, education, or culture. That's the spirit of a place. When a place has been saturated with fear, manipulation, or hidden agendas, it begins to shape those who live in it. People start adjusting their dreams, lowering their standards, compromising their purpose, not because they lost it, but because the place reshaped it. The atmosphere trained them to settle. The territory taught them limitation. The spirit of a place can either ignite your potential or mute your voice. And here's what's dangerous. It doesn't happen all at once. It's subtle. It's slow. You don't notice it at first, but months pass, then years. And one day you wake up and realize you've been surviving, not living. You see, when you stay too long in the wrong environment, you begin to normalize dysfunction. You call fear wisdom. You call bondage structure. You call silence peace. But deep inside you know something's wrong. Something doesn't fit. You feel boxed in, caged, misaligned. That's not just a bad mood. That's the spirit of the place pressing against your purpose. It's trying to convince you to shrink, to forget who you are, to live small, think small, and die full of potential you never used. Some places are not designed to host your destiny. Some environments don't carry the capacity for who you're becoming. And no matter how hard you work or how much you pray or how positive you stay, you can't become what you were born to be in a place that denies your future. So the real question is, are you in a location that recognizes your purpose or resists it? Because if a place can shape your potential, what happens when that place is being governed by a power that doesn't want you to fulfill it? What if it's not just a city or a room, but a throne is ruling over it? Let's uncover that next. Some places aren't just influenced, they're governed. Governed by powers you cannot see, but you can feel. Every city, every region, every territory has a throne, and that throne determines what is allowed to grow and what must be crushed. You ever wonder why no matter who moves into certain areas, the same patterns keep showing up? Poverty, violence, mental instability, broken families, businesses that start strong but collapse before they thrive. That's not just bad luck. That's the sign of a ruling spirit. Thrones don't scream, they subtly legislate. They create invisible laws that shape how people think, feel, and behave. And if you're not aware, you'll end up submitting to a system you didn't even know existed. You'll think it's just how things are, when in reality, you're living under the influence of a dominion. These spiritual governments are ancient. They've been in place for generations. They operate through culture, through memory, through trauma, through repeated behaviors that have now become normal. But normal doesn't mean harmless. Normal doesn't mean healthy. Normal just means it's been tolerated long enough to blend in. Some people are fighting personal battles that are really territorial wars. They think it's just their struggle, but they're carrying the weight of a region. They're pushing against systems that were designed to resist their breakthrough. That's why some voices are silenced before they speak. Some dreams are shut down before they launch. Some ideas never see light because the ground they're trying to grow in has already been claimed. You're not just dealing with opposition, you're dealing with thrones. Thrones that don't want to be challenged. Thrones that have trained generations to stay low, stay quiet, and never rise. But here's the truth. If you don't recognize what's ruling where you live, you'll never understand why certain battles keep repeating. It's not about who you are, it's about where you are and what's trying to rule over your identity. So ask yourself, who's really in control of this place? Because the moment you confront that question, you'll begin to see what's been sitting on the throne. But what happens when that throne doesn't rule with fear, but seduces with comfort? What if the next threat isn't loud, but pleasing to the soul? Let's explore that. Not every trap looks dangerous. Some are beautiful, some feel like peace, some sound like opportunity, but behind the surface, something is hiding. And the most dangerous environments are the ones that seduce your senses while slowly stealing your strength. You walk in, and everything looks right. The lights, the sounds, the energy, the people, it feels familiar, even comfortable. But comfort doesn't always mean safety. Sometimes comfort is the disguise that keeps you from discerning the danger. You see, some places are engineered to numb you, to keep you entertained, but never enlightened, to keep you busy, but never fulfilled. And without realizing it, your vision becomes blurry, your urgency fades, your standards shift, not because you stopped caring, but because the environment slowly rewrote your priorities. That's how seduction works. It doesn't demand, it invites. It doesn't force, it suggests. It whispers in a way that sounds like your own. It lulls you into agreement with patterns that are pulling you away from who you're supposed to become. You used to dream bigger. You used to wake up with purpose. You used to feel the fire. But now, you just go through the motions. Day after day, smiling, posting, showing up, but inside you're coasting. Something in the environment started speaking to your comfort and silencing your conviction. There are places that specialize in distraction. They offer excitement without elevation. They offer connection without depth. And the longer you stay, the harder it is to hear yourself. You stop asking the hard questions. You stop growing. You settle. And here's the truth. Seduction is more dangerous than fear. Because fear warns you, seduction welcomes you. And once your senses are captured, your purpose becomes negotiable. You start trading vision for validation, trading clarity for comfort, trading transformation for approval. So ask yourself, what is this place awakening in me? Is it sharpening my focus or softening my standard? Is it pushing me forward or pulling me deeper into a version of myself I was supposed to leave behind? But what happens when staying in that seductive environment starts to cost you something? Your peace, your energy, your identity. What if comfort becomes the most expensive decision you ever made? Let's talk about what it really costs. Next, every place you enter is making a transaction. It may not ask for your money, but it will cost you something. Some places cost your time, others cost your peace. But there are environments that demand your identity. You don't always pay in dollars, you pay in decisions. You pay in delayed purpose. You pay in mental exhaustion. And the worst part, you don't even realize you're being charged until you've got nothing left to give. You thought staying would be easier. You thought it was the smart move. You told yourself, it's not that bad. But little by little your energy started leaking. Your confidence started cracking. Your voice started shrinking. And all of a sudden, you became a version of yourself you don't even recognize. That's the price of presence. When you remain in a place that's not aligned with your future, you start losing pieces of who you are. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's subtle, but it's real. You used to speak with clarity, now you hesitate. You used to plan with boldness, now you overthink. You used to walk with vision, now you question every step. Why? Because environments drain, And the wrong one doesn't just slow you down, it rewires you. You can't stay where purpose has expired and expect life to flow. You can't live on old momentum. You can't stay loyal to places that are quietly killing your progress. And some of us, we've mistaken being faithful for we've convinced ourselves that staying is strength, when in fact, staying has become a silent surrender. But here's the wake-up call. Comfort is costing you destiny. Every day you stay where your spirit doesn't fit, you delay the next version of your life. And the longer you stay, the heavier it becomes, until the weight is no longer just around you, but inside you. So ask yourself, how much longer can you afford to stay somewhere that's slowly spending your soul? Because some places don't just take from you, they plant things in you: thoughts, patterns, cycles that follow you even after you leave. What if your exit doesn't break the loop? What if the cycle has already begun? Let's uncover that next. Some places don't just influence you while you're in them, they mark you even after you leave. You packed your bags, you moved away, you thought you were free, but something followed you. Something invisible, but very real. You ever wonder why certain thoughts keep coming back, even though the environment is gone? Why patterns keep repeating, even when the people have changed? Why you're in a new place, but the old battle still shows up? It's because some environments don't just affect your surroundings. They plant seeds inside of you, seeds of fear, seeds of insecurity, seeds of failure. And if those seeds are never addressed, never uprooted, they start growing, right where you are. You moved on, but your mind didn't. Your body left, but your belief system stayed stuck. And now, the old atmosphere is still producing fruit in your new season. Cycles are the evidence that something was left behind, unfinished. Because the moment you start seeing the same pain, the same delays, the same emotional weight, that's not just life repeating, that's residue. And residue doesn't disappear with time, it takes intention. You've got to confront it. You've got to ask the uncomfortable questions. What did that place plant in me? What thoughts did I start to believe? What fears did I inherit? What standards did I lower just to survive? Because if you don't identify it, you'll carry it. And what you carry eventually becomes part of your identity, until you no longer know if you're thinking clearly or just repeating the voice of a place you left years ago. You left the city, but the cycle stayed. You walked away from the relationship, but the rejection stayed. You switched jobs, but the fear of failure followed. That's how environments work. They leave fingerprints. And if you're not careful, you'll keep building a future around trauma you never unpacked. So the question becomes, did I actually leave, or did I just relocate the pain? Did I move my body but leave my mind behind? Because some places don't just leave wounds, they create agreements. Agreements you didn't even know you made. Agreements that still have power over you. But what happens when those agreements go deeper, so deep, they begin to influence your bloodline? What if where you've been is now trying to claim your legacy? Let's go there next. Some places don't just leave a mark on you, they try to leave a mark on your lineage. And if you're not alert, what started in one generation can echo into the next. You think it's over, but your children start battling what you never conquered. Your family begins to carry burdens you never chose, simply because a door was left. You see, spiritual environments aren't just local, they're generational. And when you spend too long in a place ruled by darkness, by manipulation, by fear, it doesn't just influence your decisions, it alters your bloodline. Patterns begin to repeat, cycles begin to reappear. What you tolerated becomes what they inherit. The atmosphere you adapted to becomes the normal they grow up in. And unless that cycle is broken, the same forces you fought will be waiting for them. This is why you must understand, every decision you make isn't just about your now, it's about your next. It's about the future that will either walk in freedom or fight invisible enemies passed down like family secrets. It's not just about leaving a place physically. You have to break the agreements that came with it, the unspoken contracts, the mindsets, the soul tie, the spiritual doors that were opened while you were unaware. You must confront what tried to claim your identity, so it can't lay claim to your children's. You must close what was opened, so their path isn't stained by what stained yours. Because the curse continues when no one confronts it, but cycles break when truth is exposed. And here's the truth. Some places weren't just dangerous to you, they were trying to build a legacy through you. A legacy of silence, of fear, of limitation. But you have the authority to interrupt that pattern, to say it stops with me. This is more than awareness, it's about assignment. You weren't born to repeat history, you were born to rewrite it. And no matter what place you came from, no matter what followed you, no matter what tried to define you, you can draw the line, you can break the cycle, you can walk away for good. Because legacy is not just what you leave behind, it's what you refuse to pass on. So ask yourself one last question. What are you building that no longer carries the weight of where you've been, but reveals the power of where you're going? It's time to choose your place wisely.